Good. Good. Bam. Live? Think so. Should be live now, guys. Hope you're having a great day. Of course, now then, do the classic, talking about every anime coming this season, right? So tomorrow, we have a new anime season, because it's fall anime season, right? Which to me has always been the fun thing, right? The fall is the last season, and the winter is the first one. For me, I feel winter to be, but whatever, I digress. So now we have the fall animes, and I have watched all the trailers, almost right. I have read the synapse, I have perhaps read some manga chapters, depending on, of course, what show it is, right? I'm gonna go over them, which one I'm gonna react to, which I'm gonna review, right? And which one I think is gonna be good or bad or, whatever, right? And so on. You get the point. So if you've never been on this street before, what we do here is that I usually use LiveChart, this website, and then we just go over popularity, right? So we go down like most popular down to least popular, which means that in the beginning, probably we'll address the anime more, right? Talk about more, oh, this is a great show, blah, blah. And then in the end, it's like, oh yeah, this show that no one's gonna... It usually definitely, in the end, it's like, this is a show that like one person probably cares about, right? A little bit like that. The reason I do that, to address it quickly here, is because I look at it in the way I look at TD lists or whatever, right, for video games and so on. Is that I like to talk about the best first, right? It might make you lose viewers, whatever. No, but I think it's better because, to me, like I said in my latest TD list, I was like, this is, the best class of whatever. This is the best character. Yeah, I like to go in that angle, right? And then actually preferably use the worst afterwards. But still, I think it's easier to look at that in that way. And popularity isn't the best, perfect, of course, way to structure what is the greatest and not whatever anime, right? But I think there's some, usually popularity is not maybe accurate, but it's like, it's definitely more accurate than any other sorting list here, I think. Even though, again, I don't think it's the perfect way to do it, right? But it's more accurate. But anyway, let's start going at it. And, please subscribe, slap us all right. My channel is struggling this last month, so every like is all helps out. And an update briefly here. Every video so far that I upload for like the last 2 weeks, right, has been, issue with YouTube. But so far, every video I have asked YouTube to look at manually, they haven't with me. So maybe fix that stuff eventually. But anyway, let's start it. So let's do one thing here actually. Sorry. So now I'm gonna fix the. Oh no button. I'm gonna fix. I have a better chat. It's a classic thing, right? You start streaming. I haven't actually streamed in a while, honestly, on YouTube. So just fix that. So we got a better way to look at it, right? So I can see the chat easier. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's good. Let's press the button here. My PC is lagging a bit, so about that. Bam, it's got home, guys, so a little bit. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's start. Jujutsu Kaisen, of course, one of my favorite animes. I really like Jujutsu Kaisen. Great show, right? I actually been on TV. If you haven't seen that, that was crazy. It's a side note, right? I mentioned that earlier, but in all the videos. But yeah, I've been on TV, right? Japanese TV, talking about this anime. So that's a big thing. But I don't know. I mean, it's like, what can I say? This is obviously one of the best I've ever. It's going. And hello, bro. Haven't seen you in a while. But I have been lazy on streaming on YouTube for many reasons. So that might be why I haven't seen you in a while, bro. But anyway, let's go on. But obviously, it's an ongoing anime. Now then, Emi Shadow, great isekai, right? Probably one of the most popular isekai this year. Season 2, and probably one of the quickest season 2s, because normally they take a lot longer time, right? Sometimes they have, of course, a part 1 and part 2, but this actually isn't counted as a part 2, it's actually season 2. Definitely one of the most popular animes, coming soon then in, I guess it's gonna be next Wednesday. And yeah, I think this is a great anime. Fun main character. If you haven't seen the first season, I will briefly explain it here. I mean, obviously isekai, right? Take us to another world and so on. But the main character is different, not completely unique, I suppose, but he's different because he is one of these isekai characters that is very competent before he becomes teleported, right? He's very competent on Earth, But of course, there are some other isekais like that, but that's that's the main thing I would say. And he's basically like Batman, right? He's like he's like a superhero guy, on Earth, right? And that, of course, translates to him being really, really good in, with magic, so on, right? So that's one thing. And he's obviously an OP isekai character. He's like a very, very overpowered main character. And then he got a bunch of cool, I guess we call them his shadows or whatever. Yeah, bunch of cool harem characters. Here comes, of course, my number one. Anya Kawaii. I waited for this thing, right? My Anya, the best daughter. For me, this is the best anime next season, right? A lot have a new. I've seen it before here on this website. They have a new post, childcare, yeah. Yeah. An anime about being a parent, yeah, that's like a new tag there. But honestly, this is a pretty interesting tag because this actually is one of my favorite genres, right? It might be because I'm like, I like this wholesome show. Yeah, this is like an interesting tag because Spy X Family, maybe Hinamatsuru will appear. Hinamatsuru! There it is, I mentioned it in my last video. Oh my god, Hinamatsuru. This is an amazing anime, guys, about, child care. Also similar, dad and daughter. You can see, Somali. Yeah, I've seen all the anime. Somali, about a guy. He's like a golem, right? A golem raising his daughter in this fantasy world. Of course, I've seen the anime. About like a manga artist, I guess he's like Kagoshiko. Barakamon, of course, similar. Buddy Dad is like Spy X Family again. This is the best genre tag. This is a new genre tag. We have Belzebub. I love Belzebub. Not very much. Belzebub is quite different though. It's more like a Yankee anime, right? But I suppose it has a son, I guess. The main cat is a father. Yeah, or it's a father, I guess. But anyway, if you've seen my stuff before, I really love Spy X Family and similar anime like that, Hinamatsuru and so on, right? It's just this sweet moment, right? Another anime I really like, as I mentioned last special video, is of course Nonyon Biyori, right? Candy Lady, of course, yeah, Candy Store Lady. And so I'm laughing. If someone hasn't seen the anime, it's gonna be crazy. But like, just like mentioning Nonyon Biyori, immediately I'm seeing like Candy Store Lady trying to raise her daughter Renshon, and it's like Renge, like breaking. But anyway, I love this stuff. It's so wholesome. It's comedy, right? So yeah, Spy X Family is like my favorite anime with air, right? Season 1. I think it's a masterpiece. It's so incredibly funny, I think, and wholesome and so on, right? I really, really like Spy X Family. What can I say? It's like my number one anime coming next season. Well, I guess one thing I want to point out though is that the anime, of course, also is really well done. High quality, high animation, high budget. The opening made me cry, last opening, right? The ending and so on. It's really well done too. We can't ignore it well. It's probably the highest budget childcare anime, I guess, right? Wholesome anime, so you just call them, wholesome family animes. But it really is. I can't even. No, most wholesome animes like this have pretty low budget, right? That's what it also makes it stand up even more, and so on, right? And of course I like the cat as well, but yeah. The Titan is finally ending. So, if you're up to date, right, Attack on Titan, this is like, I don't know. I don't even know. I think it's like part 4, final, part 3, something. It has some really, really strange name, right, of like, Attack on Titan, season 4, the final season, part 3, part 4, or something, or like part 4, part 3. Like it has the most weirdest title ever in anime history. That alone will make surprising. But it is ending. I believe this will be the last episodes. It certainly has to be more than. I read the manga, of course. It certainly would have to be more than 30 minutes, at least an hour. I would guess more than an hour, but certainly at least two episodes. If it's the end. What can I say? I'm not gonna spoil it, of course, but I'll say one. I guess a general spoiler, because you probably heard it, right? If you haven't read it, is that everyone really disliked this ending, to say the least, right? And I personally also did. So I am excited for this to end in a month from now. So I do want to see how Anime on this right will handle it. I think most people probably have read it by now because it's been delayed, or this weird final part 7 or whatever. So many weird, releases. So I bet you that most people have read the manga by now, and it probably isn't many anime audience left, right? But there's some of them, right? There's some of them, and they're gonna be shocked, I would say, right, when you get to the ending. And also, I think people want to actually. I think a lot of people think that they're gonna probably, how to say it, fix the ending, right? A lot of people, to this day, probably think that in Attack on Titan, when we get to the ending in the anime, somehow they're gonna rewrite it, and and make it better, or something, right? Right? They think that they're gonna fix it magically. I extremely much doubt that. Anime seems to be very faithful to mangas, but it would be interesting if they rewrote how the ending is, especially some certain lines they might rewrite, right, and so on. So maybe, who knows? They might go for a little. They probably have the same ending, but I could see them actually changing some of the lines that doesn't make any sense in the manga. Perhaps like the rewrite there, right? The funny thing is that Ishiyama, he did write a second version of the manga. Yes, he wrote a second version, and that has been an improvement because everyone complained so much on the first version, and that was even worse. It was worse too. I mean, I read both of them. Yeah, the second version was even worse. It was like, whoa, he just didn't get it. Yeah, he was like, everyone is complaining on this thing. Let me do more of that. Yeah, it was. It's been worse. So maybe the anime will be like fixing it, because One Piece keeps going forever. Everyone knows that. Now, Shield Hero, very interesting here, right? So Shield Hero, pretty popular isekai back in the days. Obviously, I love Malty, right? It's one of my favorite characters. Bleach just unfortunately is gonna go out, right? Bleach a double episode. Yeah, Bleach double episode on this Saturday, right? Ishebe will probably have his episode, right? But Shield Hero, like, I don't know, guys, right? I made a video about Shield Season 2, or more than one, I guess, but I made like a one summary, whatever you call it, right? The issue of the anime. And yeah, Season 2 was terrible, basically said. Without going into much detail, I'm not spoiling anything, Season 2 is just really bad. Like, it's plainly very bad. It is really boring in the beginning, with this like giant turtle thing or whatever. It's really boring, and then the new antagonist is really uninteresting, and it's just generally, it's really abysmal. Like, it's a really terrible Season 2 compared with Season 1, and because they had a very long, I think like 3 years between, maybe 2 years, something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. At least 2 years, right, between first and second season. It felt that all the hype was over when the second season arrived, and it was a way worse season. Now, Season 3 looks better, I have to say. We're back to the Queen, right? We're back a little more to the image here looks better. It's like the main Season 2 is weird because it takes place in another country with new characters. I won't go into it too much, but I get my point. Season 3, it does look better because it clearly has the more interesting antagonists and so on, right, in it. But the big issue with Season 2 was the general lack, right, of Malty. That's what my video was about, yeah. Malty has no screen time at all, right, in Season 2. And that being said, though, even in Season 1, Shield Hero, to me at least, is quite a failure after Malty, of course, leaves, basically, right? Because that reminds me of FF16, if you played that 16, right, a few months ago. Same thing there, so spoiler out for 16 then, so spoiler, but obviously. In F16, right, your mom is quite the character, to speak, and when she's not really in the storyline anymore, the game definitely goes downhill. Right? The game isn't terrible, but like I think everyone agrees with me, basically, F16 is worse when they change the antagonist, right? Yeah, when they're focusing on your mother being one of the main antagonists, or one of your foils, right? It's much more interesting. She's the character, whether the character. She's Annabella. She's clearly the best character in F16. Shield Hero, very similar, right? When Malty is the antagonist, it's much more interesting, and she's a more dynamic character. And when she basically is not completely removed, but more or less removed, right? The anime just kind of became boring. So I don't know, guys. I probably check it out, but I mean, I see Malty there, but yeah, Now, Goblin Slayer is back. You get used to it. It's back, right? So, Goblin Slayer. I feel everyone knows about Goblin Slayer. It's like, yeah, the guy, you know, it's a very family-friendly anime, to say the least, right? Now, I might be the odd man out here, but I say it here, right? I never liked Goblin Slayer 1. I never liked it. I mean, I wasn't like... I mean, I did watch it, and so... I mean, it wasn't like I was like, oh, it's the worst thing ever. It's watchable, if you get my point. But I never really liked... I never loved it, I guess. It was never like a 10 out of 10 for me. It was like a 7 out of 10, maybe, something like that. So, maybe I should say I didn't like it, but I hope you get my point. I felt it was kind of mid, okay? Let's summarize it like that, yeah. I felt it was kind of mid, guys. I certainly do. And I don't say that, right? Because I don't, you know, because I have problems with, you know, it's content, right? That's what people must say. I just felt it was kind of boring, honestly. Like, honestly, after the initial, I guess, the scenes that people will talk about, the controversies, after that I just felt that it wasn't much to have there. It's kind of like a somewhat boring fantasy storyline. There's some episodes which are just terrible. There are 2 episodes in the first season, nothing happens. They go to the island talk or something. And then it's the same thing over and over again. He sets up traps, right? He sets up his plans to, you know, adventure. So I don't know. I think this is actually one of the most overrated animes ever, honestly. Because, again, I don't think it's like a bad anime, but so many people I know think it's a 10 out of 10 anime, right? And to me, that is just some kind of... I really do think that most people think this anime is 10 out of 10. They're arguing the 10 out of 10 from because they want to be, you know, because some people, right, dislike this anime, right? Some people are like, this is the worst thing ever. Then there's other people, they want to argue against it, right? So it's like an anti-contrarian, you know, whatever. Right? It's like I have to be. It's like they have to say it's the best thing ever. It's like, you know, these people are review bombing it. We have to review hype it or whatever. Yeah, we have to be super positive, right? It's something like that. It's something. I really do think that. Sorry if I'm kind of all over the place, but I hope it's not a point. I really do think that most people that actually like this anime, and I really mean it, I think they just like it because it disliked other people, I guess. That's what I'm saying. Because I met some people in my life over these last years that this is one of the best animes ever, and I just can't see it. Right? And every time I ask them, why is it actually a good anime for? Like, why is it 10 out of 10? They almost never defend it. It's just like, well, you know, people just like, yeah, but that's not actually make it good, okay? That someone dislikes something doesn't make it good either, right? It doesn't automatically make it good. Last, they had some production issues last season, but it might be better this season, but that's something to point out as well. The Stone, of course, one of my favorite animes. Obviously, I watched it. This is actually like season 4, something like that. Core 2 and 3 part. Yeah, this is, of course, episode 6 or whatever. Very briefly, Dr. Stone, of course, is a guy inventing stuff, right? He's an engineer. I think it's a very good anime. Kitchen anime and so on. But I can see a lot of people actually not liking it. I think it's fun, right? I really like it. But I can see people getting lost in this anime after a while. And it definitely, season 3, while I think it's pretty good, it's not as good as the early season, you know, when they had the more... I think this anime, while it is one of my... Season 1 is like one of my favorite animes of all time, basically. But I think it's that... Again, I like the anime a lot, right? But basically, it is much stronger than Senku, the main character, when he has to rebuild stuff, right, you know? Because season 1, he's starting from scratch. It really is a Minecraft of animes, right? So he starts in the beginning, he's Minecrafting it, he has to build his house or whatever, right? Like, that is season 1. Season 1 is like, he just has, you know, wood and rocks and has to construct a house or whatever. But season 2, he has the house, right? Then he has other people helping him, so they can build bigger houses and so on, right? So it's really fun, but you know what I mean. Season 3 is like, we have a castle now, we have like a city. Yeah, so it started to feel more and more less like, I don't know, like it's starting to kind of, you know, bloat up, I guess. But I also think that the technology in the beginning was interesting. Having to rebuild stuff, build technology stuff from, you know, square one, right? Is more interesting than when you already have a laboratory or have a factory, whatever, right? So he basically has like a factory, so I said 3. So I still really like it, but clearly I think it's a better anime in the beginning when he's just, starting out his tech stuff, right? And this anime actually started is an isekai among many other isekais. But like I was ignoring it. I didn't think that's a problem with it. Now, okay, so now we have Freren. I don't have to say her name, but for me, this is a Norwegian word, which means so Freren. Sorry. So how would I explain this word? Freren. I said in the videos. Okay, Ferien. Freren. Basically, it means vacation in Norwegian. Ferien is like going on vacation. Nu är det ferie. And a very common saying in Norwegian is är det ferie så är det ferie. Which is like, even if I have to pay a lot of money for a restaurant or hotel or whatever, I pay it because it's vacation, right? And I guess this anime is based on Scandinavian names because her friend is called Himmel. Himmel is Swedish and Norwegian for heaven, right? So very similar. So I guess so, because her name means vacation. And in this anime then, Ferien, she's going on a vacation, right? Like traveling around on the planet, like meeting people and so on, right? Which is of course vacation. So her name is Norwegian for vacation, and again the guy's name, her friend's name is Heaven, right, in Swedish. So I suppose that the author has named it straight up after Norwegian. In Swedish though, ferien is semester, which is kind of confusing, right? Because of course in English, a semester is it's like a college semester or whatever, right? But in Swedish it's opposite. Semester is that's the when you don't go to school. Yeah. So like sommarsemester in Swedish, that is like summer vacation. That's when you don't go to school. It's the opposite. Yeah. That is really weird, honestly. Yeah. Semester is basically the reverse in Swedish English. But ferie then, that's Norwegian. But Himmel is the same thing in both Norwegian and Swedish. And that's basically the anime, right? This elf mage travels around a world and meets people. So it sounds very similar to Kino's Journey and so on, right? Maybe Elena and so on. So it's like a pretty good anime and looks really, really good. Of course, Madhouse is doing it, so it's probably going to be one of the best animes coming next season. And I think it has like a very long, on Friday, I think it's like 1.5 hour. It's like a movie start, right? Something like that. On this, it's 94 minutes. That's like a really long special. It's a really long special. Similar to like Oshinokoi or whatever. Like a full-on movie the first day there. So yeah, but I think that's probably one of the best animes. Now the Faraway Paladin is an isekai, which I actually dropped, okay? You know me, I watch every isekai, so that has a lot. No, but I didn't really like that anime too much. I think the main character was kind of like meh. Really didn't like the main character too much. It was kind of boring. So I've seen the first like 6 episodes. Basically, he's isekai, and then he's found by these 3 undead people, right? These like legendary undead people, and they raise him, and then he leaves and goes on an adventure. What I dislike heavily with this anime in the beginning is that it's one of these like, I don't know what they call them, but like fake isekai or whatever. I really dislike when the main character is isekai, but has no memories of actually being isekai, being alive before and so on. So it's quite purposeless, his isekai. Like, he has no meaning. In the first 4 episodes, he has one flashback for like half a minute of Earth. So him being isekai has honestly 0 purpose. Like, it doesn't have any purpose in the storyline. At least what I saw, right? I said I dropped it after halfway through. It's the opposite, right, of many other isekais where it actually has a large, meaningful point of coming from another planet, right? So he's just like, super powerful, yet he doesn't use his isekai knowledge or anything like that. Little I know, but he's basically powerful even before that, right? Maybe he discovers it later. But yeah, I found it quite boring. Main character, quite dislikable, right? Otherwise, it's kind of very basic. So I don't know. I dropped it. Leave a comment below, guys. Do you like it? I couldn't. It just felt generic, but I really disliked the main character. Then of course we have season 2 of Mountains. I know I should watch this thing, and it's like a battle royale or something. I know. I'm gonna watch it. Okay. Now this sounds like anime for me, right? You got a gal. Yeah, you were experienced and I was not. Look at this thing. Oof, you know, a gal. This honestly is a pretty common trope, I think, right? In these kind of animes, where you have one. Obviously, it's obviously the man, right? It's always like this. So it's always like these two, okay? It is never the opposite, right? But basically, you have Hashimete no Gal and so on, right? So you have several of these animes where you have this plain-looking dude, right? It's obviously kind of like, well, this is supposed to be, self-insert, right? Basically. And, they meet up with this gal, right? This Gairu. Usually a Gairu then, right? It has to be a Gairu, but very often it's a Gairu. And, of course, the guy is like, sure, let's date, right? And now he has, like, the cutest girlfriend ever, right? Of course, way over his league, right? And it's gonna be romantic and so on. But yeah, come on, this is pretty cute. It's like a cute... but it is a very common trope, though. He's like a bully, like a no friends guy, and suddenly he gets like a really cute companion kind of thing, right? And they hang out and something like that. But it's probably I think it's probably gonna be one of the better animes, honestly. But definitely is tropey. I probably have seen like 6 other animes like this. I've seen them all. I've seen them all, man. But it just sounds like I feel exactly this dynamic like probably 500 times. That being said, though, it is very, very tropey, right? You see culture in general. I mean, look at like, I don't know, Family Guy, whatever, right? There's The Simpsons, of course. Yeah, it's always like, the guy is, Homer is, then Marge, like, yeah, but it's always like that, right? Lewis versus Peter and so on. It's basically the same thing, right? But in Japan, of course, it's basically more like a Hikamu or something instead of being like Homer. But it is very similar. But I think it's pretty good. This anime, though, now this is harem, guys. Yeah, this is harem. So this is not a comedy anime, right? So this is like I have 100. Yeah, so over the top harem. So this anime looks really fun, honestly. I'm probably gonna enjoy it a lot, right? So the main character has been rejected, right, 100 times, and now God is like, he prays to God, and God is like, oh no, it was a it was a mistake done there, yeah, it shouldn't have been that, yeah, it was a mistake, so I'm gonna like fix it or whatever, right? And now it's like, oh no, they all said yes instead afterwards, yeah. Now in retrospect, it's super, and then he has to also. I don't know, whereas they like die or something. I don't know. That's really weird. Yeah, he has to also do it. He has to help them out with their interests, or else it's like their life is over something. That's kind of weird. But basically, I like the premise, Jens speaking, that he's like been rejected 100 times. Then God's like, oh sorry, it was the wrong button there. Yeah, I fixed it now for you. Oh no, now everyone likes you instead. Yeah, oh shit. Oh no. It's like, oh no. That didn't go well. This to me sounded pretty meh. Gluttony. The guy is also. This is not an isekai. I think it isn't. But this could be isekai, right? So basically, here you have the main character. He got a really terrible power of just eating stuff, right? But we all know how this is gonna go, right? This character has a terrible power, but that's gonna be the best power ever. I mean, I'm honestly, I don't know, I'm over this story now. So what do you guys think? But I think there's so many isekais now, or at least fantasies, but these are isekais. This is a fantasy thing, but basically they're all the same, right? We have this main character. Oh no, my power is terrible. Actually, it's the best power ever. It's just like I so care anymore. Rurouni Kenshin, of course, remake going on now. I've seen the first maybe 5-6 episodes, and it's quite enjoyable, right? But obviously, I've seen the original show more than once. But yeah, like if you haven't seen it, Rurouni Kenshin is like one of the most legendary animes, mangas of all time, right? It's one of those like really, really iconic animes. When I started watching anime, I suppose Rurouni Kenshin was one of the big animes, right? Yeah, back in those days. It's one of the few animes you had, right? And all my friends and so on, they all had seen Rurouni Kenshin. So the first one, of course, then the original one. So it's a big show. Now the remake is pretty fine, I think so far, but it basically is the same thing. But I guess it like in most remakes these days, it looks better, and it definitely feels shorter, right? The pacing is always higher, basically. Yeah, I feel like almost every remake they've done so far with animes, same thing with Kai and so on, right? Is that they usually shorten them down. They remove filler episodes, they stuff like that. Yeah, I think that's like kind of the main thing, right? Better graphics, right? new voice actors sometimes the same voice actor. But even if it's the same voice actor, still better voice usually, right? Because like better quality of the recording, better audio recording and so on. So it's better, graphical performance or whatever, better audio, better that stuff, and then also of course, like usually better pacing, right? Usually the thing we get, right? Now of course Tokyo Revenge is back with the new bad guy. I'm just like, oh Mikey, Takamichi. Okay, so you know how much I love this anime. It is. Takamichi. As I always say, right, Takamichi and Kazuya are of course the two greatest main characters of anime, right? And they keep constantly competing on who's the best main character. Season 2, I suppose it was, right? It is season 3 or is it core 2? It's just called Tenyuku arc, I guess. Season 3, I guess? Honestly, I don't know. Yeah. It's season 2 or 3, whatever. It doesn't matter that much. But last season, then, which is season 2, was insanely terrible. Like, no, but the thing was the shirt scene. I mean, I almost spoil it, but it was so absurd. They have this character that is like, oh no, he's the strongest person ever, but we can like, I don't know, we can like win by just sheer willpower or something. It is all. I mean, I think that this anime is one of the worst written things I have ever seen in history, right, of mankind. Not just in like anime, right? I'm talking in any kind of medium. Nothing much is as badly written as this show, right? The worst thing with this show, Tokyo Revengers, has been that Takamichi, the main character, is a time traveler. And he never uses his time traveling abilities. I don't think I've ever seen him once say like, what if I do this thing in the past? Like, yeah, and then in the future, like, this guy has never once used what I call investment, right? Investment strategy. So, investment, as the most general, colloquial way, people mean, of course, stock market, right? You invest by buying, a stock, an index or whatever, right? But investment in its purest form can be anything, right? For example, you invest if you go to the gym, right? Because you train and you get stronger, right? You invest by doing something that makes your health better, right? Like, take care of yourself, right? Because you can have a longer life or something like that, right? That also is an investment, right? Of course, buying a house, that's an investment, obviously investment, right? Takamichi never, ever, ever does any kind of investment, even though he is a time traveler. So he knows exactly like, oh, I can buy Google stock, right? And it's gonna go up because he's time traveling. Or I can train, or I can buy that place over there, or anything that, right? So that's one thing that bugs me so much with this show is that, again, you have a character that keeps going back and forth between different time zones and never utilizes that at all, right? Which is very uncommon for time traveling characters. Usually they have, of course, some advantage of time traveling. And then he basically always managed to be confused, right? In every possible situation. Even though he's a time traveler. And that's why the writing is so insanely bad, because even though he is coming from the future to the past, he never knows what's going on. He's always the one having the least information. Doesn't make any sense, right? Because obviously if you're a time traveler, you will gather up data and everything. Right? You might not know everything happened in the past, but you have a little bit ideas, right? And then you time travel backwards so then you can fix it, right? But this guy has like absolutely bare minimum knowledge, always, which makes it weird. Then when he goes forward, the time world also changes, so he has no understanding either of something forward. And he's also very, very bad at, I don't know, predicting stuff. So he's just confused, right? He's just a confused character. He's just standing there like being confused every scene, every minute. It is hilarious. Like it's hilarious. He is probably like the worst main character in anime history, Takamichi. Him or Kazuya, but I'll probably say Takamichi is worse. Anyway, Dark Gathering, pretty good anime. I haven't reviewed it, but I'm talking about it, so this little bit review here then. So I've seen the first 12 episodes, right? Like the season 1 or like the first. They are now during the summer then. And yeah, this actually is a quite enjoyable anime on Sundays. It's, what can I say? It's about a girl that can see a ghost, right? And the main character, they also can see ghosts, of course, but he's just kind of like afraid of them, trying to, not interact with ghosts or whatever, while she is trying to find her mom, right, basically. So she, of course, pulls him along, right, on her, like, ghost adventures, supernatural, whatever, right. And, it's pretty well written, interesting characters. Man of the Ghost have, like, interesting backstories, which I like in this kind of Japanese storytelling, where this yokai, this is the backstory of this ghost or whatever, or she did that thing, or he did that thing, or whatever, right? So there's also usually some kind of interesting backstory for the different spirits, and then she has some cool solution to pure exercise people, or like purify the lake or whatever, right? So it actually is probably one of my, I'll say one of the stronger animes. Yeah, one of my like favorite animes during the summer this year. Helk, likewise, is an anime that I keep watching as well. I actually really like Helk too, and the Helk I did review though the first episode, the first two. Now Helk unfortunately is one of the animes that no one talks about, but yeah, I think it's really fun. I watched it yesterday, right, episode 12. So Helk is like, it's a comedy anime, massively much more than anything else, right? So it's a fantasy anime, clearly, but it's mostly like comedy. Basically, Helk is the strongest super guy ever. He's like a superhero, right? In this fantasy world, trying to help, I guess, the demons against the humans. They're all angels now, so that. But it's mostly like a weird comedy, okay? It's mostly some weird comedy. The first episode is Helk doing like card housing and baking and horse, weird stuff, right? Which is just comedic. And minor spoiler then him and of course the female main character, they got on this adventure, and that's currently what kind of part 2 is, I guess. They're doing an adventure, right? And it's most like comedy. Or they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna compete in a chef tournament. One episode, they just compete in an Iron Chef tournament. And the thing is that because Yoshida Masuma, the guy that's doing Soma, he's in the anime too, he's voicing some other characters. He is voicing one of the chefs then. So it's basically a straight up like a comedy parody of Soma, where Helk has to cook food against these master chefs, right? And every master chef has like a backstory. They're like, oh, my father taught me this technique. Yeah, they all have this like flashbacks of like their amazing technique. He's just like, I don't care. Like he's just like, I'm just trying to cook food here. So this making this huge parody of it. So yeah, I think it's like a really funny anime. It really is just comedy here, because it is like 95% comedy. Not much of an action anime really. It is pure comedy basically. It has some action, but very, very, very bare minimum action, guys. It's a comedy, definitely. And of course, Girlfriend, guys. So, Girlfriend, I think it's an interesting anime because when I first watched this anime, right? The first episode, I was like, oh my god, this is so bad. The writing of this character are terrible. They're so unrealistic. like the two main girls, I'm like, oh my god, this guy, he's also the author of A Whore Girl or whatever, right? So I was like, oh my god, this is too much, man. This is so stupid. I was like, oh my god, this is the worst thing ever. But then I kept watching it, and around episode 3 or 4 or so, where the girl that's like famous on YouTube and so on, when she comes in, then I actually really fell in love with this show, guys. Like, honestly, it starts out again, like, it's just starts out, but it's just like, this anime is so dumb, okay? But after you watch it for a while, and you just accept it, but you have to accept that it's really, honestly, this is not one of my favorite comedy animes now, seriously. But again, I didn't like it until like maybe 3-4 episodes. But after that, my brain just like, okay, I just accept this premise now. I accept this is like the 4 like dumb, well, it's 5 because the guy too, yeah, like the 4, it's like the dumbest people ever, okay? This is like IQ 0 characters. And after you accept that, it's like, you know what? Now it's hilarious. And then everything is hilarious because everything is just so dumb in this anime. Oh my god, it's so stupid. Like, oh, sorry, I got a phone call. Turn off that. Yeah, but it's just like, I actually really like this anime. Like seriously, yeah, like seriously. And I hated it first, and I was like, oh my god, it's so good now. I got used to it now, guys. It's so good. It's wonder what this company's done more before. I don't recognize Yeah, this also surprised me. A couple of cuckoos, very similar anime. Some more. Oh yeah, all the comedy animes right there. So, a quick check there. But yeah, I actually really fell in love. The more I watched it, the more I was like, oh my god, it's the best thing ever now. But I really mean it. It's so funny, girlfriend. It's so funny after your mental lock is like, okay, I see now. This anime, I think it's pretty boring. Okay, the Saints, magic, powers, on planet, blah blah, and two. Basically, this woman gets isekai right, and then she becomes like a potion maker. It is so slowpoke, this anime. It's so boring. No, but it definitely considered more of those shows that are just kind of like, slice of life more, right? Nothing happens and so on. And don't get me wrong, I like slice of life shows, right? Just like nice, wholesome animes, like Non Biar and so on, right? But this thing isn't fun enough. This is a problem. Yeah, it's slice of life. She's basically running, like she's, I don't know, making crafting, I guess, right? She's crafting stuff and selling it, right? But it's just nothing happens really, and it's of course some kind of, oh, will she maybe, meet this person, never. But it's mostly is like really, really slowpoke. Yeah, it's just way too slowpoke. Basically, she's like an amazing apothecary, I guess, if that makes sense. Now, this has something interesting. The vexation of a Hikamori vampire princess, right? So basically, we have a Hikamori princess, of course, a person, lead her house, right? Now she has to become this leader of this, like, I don't know, like, delinquents, I guess, yeah, like delinquent people. So she has to, like, become their captain or whatever, right? But she's like, oh no, I don't like people. So this to me sounds pretty funny, actually. Yeah, pretty funny concept. You basically have like an introvert person, right? That's, again, Hikamori. Doesn't want to go outside, doesn't have much friends. And now she has to become like the boss, right? The chief of these like crazy outgoing people, right? They're all like, yeah, let's do it, extroverted, yeah. And she has to become this like extrovert captain. She's like, oh god, no, it's terrible, yeah. And then she, of course, is very troubled by this. But she is, of course, a vampire, so she has the power of whatever. She's like a legendary vampire power, so she's, of course, the strongest. Well, also doesn't drink blood, though, yeah, but she doesn't like blood. But of course not. But she's the strongest, basically, right? But yeah, I think it's interesting, actually. Might be a good one. Now, Kids of Ruins, also interesting trailer. Basically, how to say it? This is a pretty common trope by now, I feel, where you have a fantasy world that also has technology uprising, right? So now people used to use magic, but now technology has like overcome magic. So people doesn't like magicians anymore, right? Because they don't trust them anymore. They have tech instead. And then this guy is like, oh, but my mom was, my mom was, I don't know, killed or captured or whatever, or betrayed by this tech guys or whatever, right? So he was revenge, of course, right? Because they hurt his mom and his aunt or whatever, right? So he's going around like, oh, I want to go back to living with magic and so on, right? Sounds quite like a dark storyline, though, yeah. Pretty interesting. This is some weird comedy show here. Yeah, basically like, I don't know, overpowered guy trying to make this girl also become a demon lord, something like that. Another isekai, time traveling isekai. I feel I don't care anymore. Maybe it's good, I don't know. I feel I don't care anymore. I'm glad it's everything. This thing looks so fugly, this image here. Ragnar Crimson, yeah, this image here, it's probably one of the worst images in this face. I don't like the art at all. So obviously say, we will see, I guess, but it's like a supernatural action comedy, right? But I just can't really love the art. I don't know, I just, when I see the image or I see the trailers, I'm just like, nah. Maybe it works out in the full hour, especially. I'll check it out, but now I have Under the Luck. This is definitely one of the most popular animes coming next season, right? I like David production, make a lot of these shonen animes, action animes, right? This is basically about a girl with really unlucky powers, I guess, kind of like Tamaki, I suppose, in Fire Force. This looks a lot like Fire Force too, because it's like this David production, right? And then of course we have this undead guy, right, just teaming up with. So this looks like a pretty fun action comedy. I mean, honestly, it's one of the better animes coming. And if you don't know then, David Production here, let's go to the page. They have done all of these shows. Okay, now maybe my internet died? No, here we go. This is super slow. And I said Fire Force. She looks a lot like Michael Fire Force, right? Really does. Jojo and back in the day said the word, but they do a lot of these, except Jojo, a lot of Jojos as the work. But they also have done Bento, that's coming now. Oh yeah, they did Loom, that's true, they did Loom. Also the work. More. Here we go. More of this. A lot of sets of work and a lot of Jojo, right? But you get my point. They've done a lot of these. If you've done a bit here, they've done a lot of these. Like action comedies and like that's kind of their thing, right? So this is right down their alley, right? And they're like, now this sounds pretty fun. My daughter left the nest. This is like childcare again there. A father and his daughter in an adventure. He's like training his daughter to be like a cool adventurer, right? But she becomes too badass, basically. But they can have like a cute father-daughter team up, going around save people alive or something. It's pretty cute, I think. This sounds like a super boring. I don't care. Ancient Magus Bride. I really bored by it. Ancient Magus Bride. As you say briefly, right? When it started, the first anime, I really liked it. It was very popular when it was new. But the second core, if you call it that, of the first season, was just really bad. Like this is an anime that started out really well, and then it really became bad after like 12 or 30 episodes on that. And the first antagonist ending was just really badly done. And also, of course, Elias' behavior in the ending was just didn't make any sense. The main character, I mean the woman then, not Shise, Elias, the two main characters. He's just really badly written. Like he's tremendously badly written. People have to defend the show, but it doesn't make any sense because they defend it by like, oh, he doesn't understand humans or whatever, right? But it doesn't make any sense because the guy is like rich or so on. The guy is like great at the economy. The guy is like good at this, that. So he's badly written because you can't have a person that has like no understanding of humanity yet be very successful, right, in business and so on. It doesn't make any sense. He might be, he might lack sympathy and empathy and so on, right? But he can't just be like completely empty of it. Then it's gonna be hard to have a job and so on, and manage to run a business or whatever and become rich and so on. It doesn't make any sense. So sort of weird stuff in this anime where basically he's written as completely unaware of some stuff that he should be aware of, or easy to understand, even for him. And other stuff he's like a master of, that it should be much harder to understand. Basically, what I mean is that if he is a master of A, he also should be a master of A too, right? But it's the opposite. He has no understanding of it. Doesn't make any sense, right? That he should be bad at both, right? If he was bad at both A and A2 and B and so on, then I would accept it. But he can't be good at A and terrible at A2. It doesn't make any sense. So poorly written. Now, in the beginning of season 2, she also Harry Potter, I guess, and it was even worse than the first season. I didn't finish it. I started watching it. I was like, my God, it's even worse than the first season. It's boring, really boring. Another isekai stuck in a world. Honestly, I don't care about isekai. I'm ignoring them. So I'm talking about isekais. I'm ignoring them in this today. I'm on the mode for isekais. Okay, no, that was it. This though sounds pretty fun. Okay, I heard some people are disliking the show, because of the content of it. But basically, a woman got isekai, right, stuck in her like favorite game, right, but she instead wants to, be with the antagonist instead of going with the normal game storyline. So I think it sounded pretty interesting, because basically, it's similar to Baccarina, right, similar to Pride and so on. Otome game, right? Stuck in an Otome game. But instead, she's like, but I don't want to go with the normal route. I want to be with the antagonist. That's my favorite guy right there. So I think it sounds pretty fun. So it's obviously Yuri then, she's trying to she's trying to get with the antagonist instead. I think it sounds hilarious. She breaks the game story and is like, but the antagonist, that's my best girl. I think it sounds really fun, man. But people have complained then, though. It's always right. But we'll see. I think it's a fun anime. I have no idea what it is. This actually looks pretty good, actually. Yeah, Shangri-La Frontier. This actually, to me, looks really good. So, this is one of those animes, right, where they're playing a video game. And I don't think it's isekai, nor is it like you're stuck in the video game. Correct me if I'm wrong here. This to me seems to be that you're actually playing the video game, right? But it seems to be quite a well written video game, right? Log Horizon and so on, yeah, like an actual well written. Okay, we're playing a video game like VR or whatever, but that's like a really cool idea and how it works and how the character is and so on, right? Because I think that's a big issue in like Bofuri and so on, right? Where if you like the author has no understanding of video games, right? This here seems to be an actual like well written video game with cool actions and characters and so on, right? So this might be. I think it looks a good anime. That being said, though, I do prefer if it is isekai, right, or if it's like in a video game. Yeah, I do prefer that though because end of the day, if it actually is just playing a video game, you're never really gonna feel the same. How say it, drama or whatever, right? Because it's like, well, if they lose, this is a video game in the end of the day, right? So perhaps, but I might be wrong though, because sometimes in this, it's like stuck in a video game, they're not stuck in the beginning, right? So I might be wrong here, honestly, because I only looked at the trailers, all right, and they're just playing like a video game, but episode 2 they might stuck, right? So honestly, because I've seen very similar to other animes where it's like the first episode is like, oh, this is a video game. And it's like it happens gradually. Right? It happens gradually. Might be like that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm saying like, okay, it might happen, right? So, look at that. I don't like Hanako stuff. This is such a shoujo anime, yeah. But basically, shoujo anime deluxe, right? Now this anime sounds good, man. The Family Circumstances, yeah. Another childcare anime. No, but this sounds fun, man. So basically, this like 200-year-old witch, right? She finds this baby, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna raise this little baby, right? Alicia-chan, yeah, I'm gonna be a mom, right?" So again, I like the show. It's wholesome, right? It's about like she adopts this, she saves this baby. Like, I'm gonna be a great mom, right? The daughter grows up, right? Of course, and becomes much bigger than her because she's like a, I don't know, permanently. She can't grow, right? She's like 300 years old or whatever, yeah. Something like that, right? So her daughter is now like a giant a woman, something like that. I mean, they're obviously not biologically related, right? Because she's her adoptive mother, of course, finds her, right? Yeah, so she is like a giant or something. And it is kind of hilarious, and she has her sisters and so on, right? So, I don't know, it sounds really cute. Like an airhead daughter, and like her mom trying to raise her, so with weirdness, right? So, yeah, I don't know. It's like a really fun anime. This done my wheelhouse of this, like, obviously, like, similar to Anya, right? Anya Kawaii, yeah, like another, adoptive daughter and so on. But in this case, then instead that the daughter has grown too much, I guess, yeah. But obviously, it's like a magical setting, right? So they have elves and orcs or whatever, right? She's like maybe a giant or whatever, yeah. So she's like, growing up way faster. Or maybe she's just a human. It doesn't say she's a human here, though. It says human here, but because she's like bigger than her mom, right? Because she outgrows her parents really fast. I would guess that she might. My guess, I mean, I'm only called honestly the trailers, but those in front of me. My guess is that why she might be a human, yeah, maybe she's half orc or whatever, half giant, right? Maybe I'm wrong, but it wouldn't surprise me if they just think she's a human, but actually she isn't a human. She's something else, right? That's probably where they're going with. Would be my guess. Eventually, she's like, oh, actually, I'm half elf or whatever. Yeah, whatever. My point. Probably, but yeah, it's like a mother and daughter comedy show. And now we're kind of at the bottom, right? I don't know. Oh my god, no, oh god, yeah. I don't want to. How does this get whatever? I don't want to. Okay, so. Oh god. This is anime by a guy called Melodious on Netflix. Yeah, Nana, guys. This anime, The Seven, it's spin-off, of course. Then, so this is like Melodious' son, I guess, with Elizabeth Percival, right? Maybe, I think so. It's probably their kid, right? The woman there is probably Ban's daughter, right? The woman the woman over here is probably Ban's daughter. I haven't read the manga here, but I read the whole manga, of course, the regular manga, and the whole anime, right? So it's probably Meloda's son, of course. This is definitely Ban's daughter. I look like Ban, and then I don't know. The rest of maybe there's like Gauter's son, maybe. But it's something like that, right? But the thing is that this looks like the worst thing ever, right? If you look at the trailers, this anime, it is like the ugliest thing ever. It's one of these like CGIs, but it's like, you know, stop motion X-arm thing. It is like the lowest budget of CGI that I have seen since probably X-arm. It looks insanely bad. Right? It looks incredibly bad. And the ending, of course, of its predecessor, right? In season 3, I think, sort of, right? There are a lot of memes, right, with Melodas, with his legs and so on, like that. Around season 3 and 4, the budget went to absolutely zero, right? In that show as well, and it became incredibly ugly, insanely ugly, right? So this is probably like this the spin-off, and instead of making it like insanely bad animation, they're just making like really, really poor 3D graphic kind of thing or something, right? Who knows, right? But it's clearly for budget reasoning, and it looks insanely bad, right? So it's funny that it has a 2 core back-to-back too, but it probably cost a very little money to produce. Yeah, it's like, oh, we can make a lot of this. Yeah, we can produce a lot of this. Yeah, it looks insanely bad. Like, seriously, of all the trailers I've seen, like, I don't know, 50 trailers for the stream here, this looks the worst. From my graphical standpoint, yeah. From my graphical standpoint, right? Maybe the storyline is good as a post, right? But from my graphical standpoint, this looks by far the worst. And that being said, of course, obviously, you know, the original show storyline became worse and worse as well, right? You know, it, as most unfortunately do with shonen stuff, they usually, you know, go downhill after a while, right? The author is like, what can I do now, or something like that. This is probably one of the worst, actually. It really, really spins off, right? It becomes weirder and weirder. And I don't know. Basically, I have like absolutely zero faith, right, in the show. So of course, I have to watch it. Now, I definitely will react to it for the episode. Absolutely, I have to react to it personally and review it when it arrives in about 2 weeks from now. But it looks absurdly bad, right? And then we have 4 manga comedies. So yeah, we go with teleporting powers. Yuri. So 4 manga, how I say it, 4 manga is a special way to, you know, write mangas where you have 4 panels going downward. So 1, 2, 3, 4 panels, and that basically means that they have like one yoke very quickly. Sometimes they have a setup, and the next 4 panel is the payoff in the yoke, right? So this actually matters a lot, I think, because 4 mangas, they're not that common, actually, to the animes. There's some of them, right? But not that common. But it usually means that they have a lot of, you know, quick yokes, right? So honestly, this I think is probably a pretty good show, because usually 4 mangas are good enough to get animes, means they're funny, right? Usually are really funny, right? Because they're gonna have like delivery of jokes, like bam, 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 bam. Because again, then 4 mangas are, a lot of quick jokes, right? You know, basically, right? But of course, when you read in a manga form, there are not that many pages, right? There are very few pages, but an anime basically takes a lot of chapters to make. so usually 4 manga animes, right? They usually have way more chapters than a normal anime has, right? But of course, for us the viewer, the quality usually is pretty high then, right? On jokes. So I used to think that most 4 manga animes are usually good. That's hopefully a good anime. But I think so, like a Yuri telepath anime. It's an isekai. This is fun, man. It's so fun, man. Every season. So we have, you know, I was reborn as whatever, right? A vending machine. Now we have I am a Buddha, right? I was reborn as a pig. So the guy is reincarnated, isekai, of course, and he's a pig instead. Like, maybe it's good. Maybe, I was a spider. Honestly, a pig to me sounds pretty boring. I mean, I'm most guys. A pig to me, you know, I looked at the trailer, it doesn't really appeal that much to me because, like I said, right, I have seen I Was Reborn as a vending machine last season, right, this season here. I have seen, of course, Kumodes, right, spider. I've seen, you know, a bunch of other isekais, right, where I was reborn into something. So a pig is actually basically pretty plain, isn't it? Being reborn as a pig is actually pretty basic, right? Being kind of generic, being compared to I'm a vending machine. So it doesn't honestly, it really sounds quite less innovative, right, than the other ones. But maybe he's like full on Buddha. I don't know what's the point of it is. But yeah, honestly, I watched the trailer. I was like, okay, this is just less crazy than other ones. I don't know. It didn't really stand out to me. But I thought I watched for the first episode. But honestly, it feels like you have to really surprise me these days with reincarnation stuff. Yeah, you have to really go on. It probably turned into like that. I was reborn as a dog, right? Yeah, it's probably gonna be the same thing. Like I'm Pushita now. I'm just gonna, now this is a pretty good anime. I think Under Ninja from it's a very seinen show, right? From an author that loves seinen stuff. So it's like a hidden ninja organization and so on, right? So seinen stuff, yeah. Arknight. Oh yeah, Arknight's coming back. Whoa, I didn't even know that. Sorry, I missed out on that. That's the first time I see that. So Arknight, of course, very cool anime. I reacted and reviewed that the first season. It was only episode 2, based of course on a video game. But this looks fantastic, okay? Arknight looks fantastic. It got tremendous amount of characters. Obviously Lapland is the best character. I mean, I know my Arknight, okay? Lapland is the best character. It's a place in Sweden. Who is the best character otherwise? No, it's Hoshiguma otherwise. Yeah. Definitely, the Oni, yeah. Hoshiguma, yeah. But yeah, Arknights is this tower defense game, right? From Joestar. But the animation looks really good. It really does. Now I remember I watched the anime in Mandarin. I think about it. Yeah, I think I watched one episode in Mandarin, but it was fairly faster. But I think about it. Yeah, I think I watched the anime in Mandarin. I was like, my Mandarin isn't like as good as my Nihongo, but I get by. That was interesting. But yeah, definitely gonna watch this anime. Didn't know about it. I guess season 2 then, I suppose. This should probably follow season 2, right? I think so. And which I guess is following the game then. Yeah, it's based on the game storyline primarily. This to me sounds super boring. Potion looks like terrible. Whatever. I don't care. This I read about. Yeah, she's like, Mask was shy, right? Introvert girl that was the hero. With the bottom now, guys. I'm just gonna quickly go over it. Oh yeah, this is pretty fun though. We have to have every sport anime. Yeah, so Formula 1. Yeah, Formula 1 anime. I feel like I just want to point it out, right? I feel like every sport has to be done in anime, right? So many years ago we had 2 car, right? Like we were driving the sidecar. So that's how anime is, right? Every season we have to have a new sport anime. So now it's like Formula 8, Formula 4, I guess I say. Yeah, Formula 4 racing. But it needs to be, we need to have every possible sport anime has to be made, right? So now it's like Formula 4 racing. That's pretty cool, yeah. Maybe it's a good anime. It's a regular anime. It's hard to tell when there's no manga or light novel. There's no, usually, as I say in these streams, every season, I think the original animes usually are better. Because in a regular anime, right, you don't have to care about pacing, you don't have to care about whatever, right? So original animes, I think, for example, Akudama Drive, that's original anime I really like, for example. So yeah, most original animes I would say are better than the average anime, because we have like 2 episodes. It's exactly how it should be. You don't have to end it on some kind of weird high note or whatever. Right? But one thing we have seen though, speaking here over the years, is that original animes are almost they're the so few now. Yeah, so few. It used to be way more back in the days. One reason is the budget, right? You don't want to take the chances. You rather make an anime based on something else, right? To have like a secure deal, right? A secure income, of course. But I also think that a lot of these original animes that are still original in a sense these days usually are what is called like a media project, something like that. Which basically means that this might be the first anime they're coming out with, but at the same time they're making a game or something, right? So I won't say this for this anime, I'm saying on here that most of the original anime these days, like for example Takt OP and so on, right? Then you have, the anime is actually original, there's no manga or whatever game, right? But they're also making a game at the same time, and then they're dropping the game, during the same time the anime is airing and so on. that has become the norm instead, I feel. And that also, of course, kind of devalues the anime. It doesn't have to devalue it, but of course it does, because it's like, we have to have this ending, or like this story bit is purposely not explained in the anime, because the video game is gonna explain that, so people have to buy it, and so on, right? So I don't know with this one. This one I think is original, but I think most original shows these days are like that, where they kind of have some weird connection to some other stuff. Motorsport. Oh, is it car driving? Self-driving cars, okay. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't care more than Pokemon. Oh yeah, Firefighter. I saw in the bottom here. This is like a firefighter anime. That is like an actual firefighter anime. Yeah, this is like firefighter anime, but it's not Fire Force when they're like, superpowers. This is like, I think in this anime, they're actually normal firefighters, like fighting fires. Yeah, like seeing people, turning on fire. Yeah, like a normal. Yeah, I think it's like down to earth firefighting. Yeah, not like I can fly or something. No, like, okay, we are normal firefighters. We have FLC and so on. Coming back. This sounds so boring. Yeah, I lasted for 3 hours today. This guy was really weird at me. I think we kind of, more about Musume and so on. I think we kind of bottled now, guys. FLC. Oh yeah, this is it's called the short form. This is like a 5-minute jokes, with Shadow Inimas. Yeah, it's like a 5 minutes, like a side bit of the girls in do some jokes or whatever. Think that it is, guys. Leave a comment below if I missed something. I hit another Yuri show? I haven't seen this before. Oh, original. Yeah. No, I see the trailer, but it's like hard to say. Yeah, now it's the kid shows, guys. Like I said earlier, right? Eventually you kind of get down to the least popular show. Mostly it's like shows you never heard about it before. Yeah, rest of them are just unknown. Let's quickly go up to see movies. If there's some new movies coming out, might be interesting. Suzume I've seen, pretty good movie. With Suzume means advancing, going forward, right? So I had opened the door. It's a pretty good movie. I saw it. I reviewed it maybe 2 months ago. So to that, it wasn't the best anime movie ever, but it was pretty good. I'll spoil it here. This I haven't seen actually. I really like Rascal, yeah, Butta Senpai. Really good. It's about his sister then, right? So haven't seen it yet, but that's one of the best animes I think ever. So that's probably a really good show. There's a new thing, Maboroshi. Last week, huh? Oh yeah, Gridman. Wait, is that a combination then? Gridman Universe. That is to trigger. I was like wondering if I feel they're gonna combine the 2 different Gridman shows. I haven't checked out the movies before I start doing this thing. I was like, whatever, let's do the stream, guys. I forgot to check out the movies. Oh yeah, this anime, I didn't actually finish anime, but it's an interesting anime about the whole world being frozen, right? And exploring and so on. But yeah, lastly, guys, OVAs. What do we have there? So they usually have some kind of Kage or something like that, right? The Isekai usually have OVAs going on. Let's quick check here. Oh yeah, Slime has an OVA coming. Let's do a very quick check here. Oh yeah, this is what I mean. This is very common, right? So for example, the Tenpuru, this new show that it has a OVA coming, right? Because usually this OVA I wanna see though. Okay, this is the OVA I actually wanna see, right? On serious notes here, yeah. My Academia OVA. This is some OVA that's playing Yu-Gi-Oh or something. Yeah, see. Deku is like, I'm playing the Deku card. This is great. Was it 16 days from now? This I have to see. This is like they're bored or something. They're playing card games. I mean, I have to see this thing. This actually is really good. Yeah, card game. Yeah, here. Yeah, card game heroes. Yeah, exactly. I have to watch this thing, man. Yeah, who will win this card battle? I have to see this thing. I mean, honestly, this is amazing. They basically is playing like Yu-Gi-Oh or something. I have to see this thing. The sun has gone down now. Start doing the stream here, close to midnight. Yeah, but this thing actually looks really fun. And I put it out here. And I pointed out something out. I said every season. I really like these kind of shows, right? I really like these kind of. I always really liked X-Men or whatever, right? And they have these episodes where they're playing baseball, right? They do this thing. I also really like that in not just Macadamia, but I mean X-Men and similar stuff, right? Where all the people with powers, right, are playing soccer or whatever, baseball, basketball, and they're adapting their powers, right, into a normal sport because it's a funny, creative event. How can I use my time traveling for basketball or whatever, right? I was like that. So, for example, in the OVA, I want to say it aired last summer. Might be wrong here. I don't remember exactly when it aired, but last summer, right, they had an OVA of My Academia. But they were playing baseball then. I think that was comedy gold. Yeah, it's like we're gonna play baseball. Like Minetta has his like sticky power, right? Oh, I'm gonna throw the so you can't hit the ball. So his throw is sticky baseball, right? So the baseball is hard to like get away from your baseball bat and so on, like that kind of stuff. Yeah, like how can I apply my powers in baseball, right? Oh, they have this like this guy's a lion. He can do this thing and so on. Yeah. I always really enjoy that in Macadamia. So. Honestly, I really like this OVS in Macadamia when they're doing this stuff. They're like, yeah, we're gonna do this thing. Yeah, we're gonna play card games. Yeah, it's like, what can I do, right? That being said, though, card games is probably the least useful one because them having powers doesn't really matter in playing a board game, I suppose. But I always like that. The swimming episode, whatever, right? So on. Yeah, that's always fun. But anyway, guys, just to summarize then, right? My biggest anime, of course, for me personally, Spy's Family. They were gonna see me react to it, right? But I'm also just thinking that new anime as well, right? Where you have the mom raising her daughter in this, like her daughter is like way bigger than her, so on. Yeah, daughter outgrown her, so on. Her like giant daughter or whatever. It's pretty fun too. Other animes that I watch like Shadow of Imminence and so on, right? But of the new animes, I don't know. I honestly don't really see any like, oh, here's a new anime that I think is gonna be big. It feels most like there are sequels coming. I think that Shangri-La to me was pretty good. They like the gaming anime, right? Like stuck in a video game probably in the end. that show. But I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't see actually any like really very popular heavy animes from so to speak. For TV. I said. Like non-sequel based, right? Non-sequel based. I think they're all Kaisen, of course, with obviously also a sequel. Attack on Titan, Goblin Slayer. The only anime that I think is gonna be big, honestly, is of course Ferien, yeah. Vacation, yeah, Semester. This is probably the only anime I feel that's gonna be really big and be a non-sequel, right? Probably, because everything else that is quite popular are sequels. Frierian, Frierian's Journey, this is probably the most popular new anime. Otherwise just sequels, right? There's always, some new ones. But this is never gonna be, this like comedy show is never gonna be like, the most popular show, right? So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that Ferien, Vacation is gonna be the most popular anime of the non-sequel. That to me is pretty clear actually. Overall looks pretty weak on completely new animes. There's no like whatever new short stuff or something. I mean, like last year in fall, for example, you had Chainsaw Man or whatever, right? Like that was like, whoa, this anime is gonna be very popular, right? Yeah, like this is gonna be one of the biggest this year, in like shonen and stuff and so on. But anyway, hope you guys the stream, subscribe. So like button, like I said earlier, my channel is in massive trouble, right, in the system. So every like and so on really helps. So far, though, like I said earlier, every video that I have asked for a manual request, they have actually then, of course, corrected it. But we're still in this system, right? Everything is in limbo immediately. And hopefully, though, by if enough requests pass through, right, it should set a system. I personally work with AI stuff, right? AI research and behaviors and whatever, AI and so on. And usually you have something called reinforced learning and machine learning, so you have some kind of reward system for it. So an AI should usually learn then that, but if you get corrected so many times, we should change course. So But it does really help actually with likes and shares. It really does, because one of my videos that has that trouble then, after it got like 30 40 likes, it was gone, right? So eventually, so it does help, guys. It really does. The more people that like your video, right, and so on, right, the more, of course, the AI believes that the video is a good video, right? So it is actually somewhat meaningful, and that's also an issue. Yes, big guys, like me having a smaller channel, right? Of course, it's a smaller channel. If I had a million subs, right, this would never be an issue, right? Of course, they would have fixed it immediately anyway, but like, just by having so many subs, I would get a lot of likes, and it wouldn't be an issue, right? So it actually really does help us. But anyway, so you guys can have a great day. Of course, tomorrow is Kaizen. Now I'm gonna go play Aki, which I might make a video about. I definitely make a video about Ed, and he comes in SF6, which is the next character. Today we have Aki, which is like looks interesting. But my side material, my main character, right, in SF is Ed from the 5th game. He's like my favorite character in that game. I played him competitively for years, right? And he's the next character after Aki. So Aki to me is like just a warm up. Like, where's my Ed, right? But Ed, I definitely make videos about Ed, because then I will play a lot more SF, because it really is weird, like missing your favorite character. You really feel like, where's my it feels strange, right? They're probably gonna change him on the course, give him some new abilities, but I think he's probably gonna be better in this game, because he had a lot of issues, like a lot of bugs or whatever in the last game. So yeah, I think he's gonna probably